I'm Lisa, and this is Be the Effect, a podcast about the small, intentional shifts that create meaningful change. Here, we explore patterns, pauses, pivots, and practices so you can create that transformation from the inside out. Let's crack on. Welcome back to Be the Effect, where little shifts create big change. I'm Lisa, as you probably well know by now. I'm a long-time deep breather, frequent overthinker, and someone who's learned the very long way that slowing down is not the same as falling behind. Today we're diving into step 2 of the butterfly effect process, the pause. Once we start noticing the patterns, those are the loops, the habits, and the things that keep showing up or don't, as the case may be, the next step isn't to fix them. It's to pause. And I know pausing can sound simple, but it's one of the most challenging things in this process that we ever do, especially in a world that rewards speed, productivity, and just keep going, or just keep swimming, as the case may be. Sometimes pausing looks like literally stopping. Other times it's internal. It's a breath, it's a moment of awareness, softening instead of a push. Pausing is where we begin to notice what we've been ignoring. So what have we been rushing past? And what we've been resisting because it feels uncomfortable, or it feels inconvenient, or maybe it feels really unfamiliar. And if I'm honest, this has been one of my biggest teachers. I used to think pausing meant something was wrong, like if I slowed down, I was failing, or avoiding, or, God forbid, being lazy, which I know is something that definitely comes up for a lot of people. Being lazy. What I've learned is this, and I'm still working on it, just so we're very clear on this. Pausing is actually an act of courage. When we pause, we interrupt the autopilot. When we create space, that tiniest breath of awareness between what happens and how we respond is able to take place. Between the trigger and the reaction, between that old pattern and the possibility of something new. And in that space, something powerful happens. We begin to see clearly, not the story we've been telling ourselves, not the version we think we should be, but what's actually happening. What's happening in our body, in our thoughts, and or in our emotions. So pausing doesn't always feel calm or peaceful. Sometimes it feels really awkward. Sometimes it feels freaking uncomfortable. And sometimes it brings up feelings we've been keeping busy to avoid. One of my key areas of favourite avoidance practices. But it also is incredibly honest. Because when we pause, we meet ourselves exactly where we are, not where we think we should be. Pausing lets us feel what's actually there. So instead of filling the space with noise or distraction or old coping strategies, it's that moment where you want to jump in and fix something, or explain yourself, or maybe even over-explain yourself, or smooth it over, or even control the outcome. And instead, you breathe, you listen, you wait, and suddenly you start to notice things you didn't see before. That tightness in your chest, that urge to defend, the fatigue that's been quietly building up, or the truth you've been whispering to yourself but haven't fully acknowledged yet. This is the power of the pause, not to judge, not to analyse, but to notice. Because awareness doesn't force change. It invites it in to sit and hold space with it. But without this step, we just repeat the same patterns, but faster. So, in reflection this week, practice one conscious pause before reacting to a conversation or a decision. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be literally one deep breath, one heartbeat, one, let me think about that. Just enough space to notice what's really happening inside you. Notice how that one tiny pause shifts the outcome, or at least your experience of it. That's awareness becoming choice. In the next few episodes, we'll explore different ways to pause through breath, through mindful observation, and through that quiet space between action and reaction where choice truly lives. For now, give yourself permission to slow down, even just for a moment, because sometimes the most profound transformation doesn't come from doing more. It comes from pausing long enough to listen. I'm Lisa, and this is Be the Effect. Catch you on the flip side. Thanks for listening to Be the Effect. If this episode spoke to you, share it, reflect on it, and let it ripple. Small awareness leads to intentional action, and intentional action creates ripple effects far beyond what we can see. If you'd like to explore the butterfly effect process more deeply, you'll find links in the notes. Until next time, stay present and choose to be the effect.